Would Proxima Centauri allow us to build a base there? There are currently 2 space stations with which we have managed to have a permanent settlement of humans in space, and we hope that in the not-too-distant future, we will be able to build a base on the moon. But how far could we go? Since Yuri Gagarin became the first human to orbit the Earth in 1961, interest in exploring outer space has grown exponentially. Could we eventually create human communities distant from our planet, such as a space colony on the star Proxima Centauri, when we have the technology to go to the stars hundreds or thousands of years from now? Is something like this ever conceivable? Let's investigate. The major problem. Human habitations outside of Earth's atmosphere usually come to mind in the far-off future, perhaps thousands of years. Because of this, we must assume that humanity already possesses the technology necessary to travel to the nearest star to our solar system, where we intend to establish a permanent settlement or base. Having said that, may we establish a permanent human settlement on the star Proxima Centauri if the human race is successful in creating interstellar travel technology? We must take into account every issue we will encounter in order to dispel this uncertainty. First off, it is most likely that if we intended to build a base on Proxima Centauri, we would do so on Proxima b, an exoplanet that would have the ideal environment for supporting life. However, there is no assurance that this exoplanet will support humans in the same way that Earth does. Radiation. Due to its tight orbit to its star, Proxima b experiences frequent radiation exposure and is vulnerable to solar flares. Any life could suffer as a result. Additionally, Proxima b's atmosphere has not yet been properly investigated, so we are unsure of its potential for radiation shielding and whether or not it has a breathable atmosphere. One of the main obstacles to creating a space outpost at Proxima b is the radiation there. Proxima b absorbs a substantial amount of radiation from the star because of its close proximity to Earth, which could be harmful to human health. Radiation damage to cells and DNA can result in sickness and cancer. Adequate protective measures would be required at a base on Proxima b to shield the residents from radiation. Building the base underground or underneath a thick layer of defense material might be one option. Lead and other radiation-resistant building materials, such as shielding materials, should have been employed in the base's construction. Additionally, radiation monitoring and warning systems for base occupants could be equipped with cutting-edge technology. Utilizing magnetic barriers to insulate the base from radiation is another option. On the International Space Station, magnetic shields are now being utilized to shield astronauts from solar radiation. By creating a magnetic field around the base, which redirects high-energy radiation particles, these shields are produced. The best news ever would be if Proxima b possesses an Earth-like magnetic field, otherwise, we would need to manufacture one artificially. Some NASA scientists have proposed a unique theory regarding the situation on Mars. Jim Green, a NASA scientist, suggested putting a magnetic barrier between Mars and the Sun to defend it from high-energy solar particles at the 2050 Planetary Science Workshop in late February 2017. The L1 Lagrange point, which is a rather stable position between Mars and the Sun, is where this shield will be situated. With the exception of sunlight, all solar radiation would be blocked by this shield, which would be made up of a strong solar-powered electromagnet that would use sunlight to generate energy and induce current in a massive coil. On Mars, the magnetic field would only need to cover the side that faces the Sun because that is where the radiation comes from, unlike on our planet where it completely encircles the entire surface. With the shield in place, the planet could quickly regain its atmosphere and become habitable. Let's assume that, unlike Mars, the planetary Proxima b has no magnetic field. The astronauts in charge of constructing the base might then use this concept by putting a magnetic shield between Proxima b and Proxima Centauri to shield the planet from radiation and start building the station. To overcome radiation problems, establishing a base in Proxima b would call for an extensive and cooperative strategy. To create novel and efficient radiation shielding techniques, scientists and engineers would need to collaborate. It is feasible to overcome these obstacles and build a base on Proxima b that can endure and flourish in the harsh environment of space with the correct technology and strategy. Advanced space transportation technology would be necessary to address this issue. Despite the fact that live things cannot move at great speeds, modern technology can do it without any issues. Spaceships loaded with supplies and equipment could potentially be sent from Earth and arrive at Proxima Centauri in a few years, assisting astronauts in setting up a base on Proxima b. This scenario is possible if we can develop ships that can travel at speeds that are close to the speed of light or at least reach a few % of this speed. Before terraforming. Given its exterior proximity to its star, it is still unknown if Proxima b may be a habitable planet or if it would be possible to terraform it, but it is a fact that terraforming it is either doable or not. You must first build a base close to it. The most obvious phase of all would be the water after the magnetic field is assured. There is no life without water, and although future spacecraft will have the best technology for reusing water, it will still be necessary to find a way to increase the water supply if we want to build a base on Proxima b, especially if we need to build on the exoplanet's surface. Proxima b or other adjacent celestial bodies may have water deposits directly on their surfaces, which is one possibility. Even though there might not be much water on these celestial bodies, technology could be created to extract and purify the water that is there. Water extraction from Proxima b's atmosphere is another possibility. Technology could be created to collect and purify hydrogen and oxygen for human usage if the planet's atmosphere contains sufficient amounts of these elements. The best part about this is that the technology is currently available and could be used extensively on a different planet. The idea of sending water from Earth might also be taken into account. We could choose more creative alternatives, such mining asteroids or comets, which contain water in the form of ice, even if this is the option that is the least practical due to the prohibitive expense of sending vast volumes of water into space. If these objects exist in our solar system, they most certainly also exist in other solar systems, such as Proxima Centauri. We just need to detect them. However, not a single asteroid or comet has ever been found in a solar system other than our own. Exocomets, exoasteroids, and exomoons are in a sense objects that have never been seen through a telescope, but whose presence is highly likely given that if they exist in our solar system, they may also exist in other systems. Based on this concept, some fictional works have depicted the concept of exoplanets with moons. The most well-known example is the film Avatar, where the whole narrative is set on the exomoon Pandora, a naturally occurring satellite that orbits a gaseous exoplanet akin to Jupiter. We are unable to observe these things in other solar systems due to current technology. We can't completely rule out the possibility that one of them would pass extremely near to Proxima b, and if that happens, that would be a fantastic location for the first human base outside of our solar system. Finally, nuclear fusion might be used to combine hydrogen and oxygen atoms to create the essential liquid. This is more complex than just creating water by burning some fuels that are high in hydrocarbons, though. The ideal situation we have so far talked about the issues and challenges that might come up if we sought to establish a base on Proxima Centauri, but what if things turn out okay? However, if the planet has a strong enough magnetic field and a very dense atmosphere, that could be enough not only to be habitable, but also to house living beings. We now know that the star Proxima Centauri periodically ejects bursts of radiation that could sweep the atmosphere of any nearby planet like Proxima b. Is there a magnetic field on Proxima b? Does it have an atmosphere? We don't know. We also don't know, exists life? The likelihood of discovering life would be quite high in the future if the two previous questions were answered in the affirmative. We wouldn't even have to worry about radiation or a scarcity of water to settle down and try to adapt to a world in which we weren't born if Proxima b provided the conditions necessary for life to grow similarly to those on Earth. It was also possible for Proxima b to be devoid of any magnetic field, atmosphere, or life. Creating a base might not be the best course of action in that situation. The wisest course of action for future explorers would be to continue their voyage to other stars that are kindred to life, stars like our own that do not constantly emit bursts of radiation, allowing the planets to form water-rich atmospheres where life can flourish. Imagine that Proxima b is actually hell instead of happiness. In that case, we'll have to keep looking for another planet that is green and blue like ours in order to build a base for the human race's future inheritors and give them the opportunity to start over without repeating the mistakes we made with our planet in the past. Even though it is difficult and complicated, the hunt for a new planet in the universe to settle on is one of humanity's most fascinating and promising endeavors. We recognize that there are numerous opportunities to find and settle new worlds as we investigate and learn more about the universe. On this trip, we must also be conscious of the hazards and difficulties we may face. If we wish to build a long-lasting base on another planet, we must overcome many barriers, such as radiation and water scarcity, as well as technological and environmental difficulties. But if history has taught us anything, it is that when we band together and work toward a shared objective, humanity is capable of overcoming even the most formidable challenges. Eventually, human ingenuity and our desire for greatness will enable us to overcome the difficulties of space exploration and discover a new home in the cosmos. In the end, our hunt for a new planet is about expanding our horizons, discovering the uncharted, and pushing the limits of what is conceivable, not just about finding a place to live. So let's move forward with a curious attitude and a sense of adventure. We never know what wonders we might encounter along the route.